John Borthwick, CEO of Betaworks. John, you see a lot of new businesses, entrepreneurs pitching you new ideas. What are you seeing too much of, and where do you still see opportunities? Where are there areas where you're not seeing enough new ideas, new businesses, new innovation?
That's an interesting question. So, I would make a sort of rather general statement up front, which is that in the last 6 months, I think we've seen less sort of breakthrough ideas than we saw in the 6 months prior to that. And I think that the flood of capital that's moved in the early stages of this is to some extent encouraging entrepreneurs to sort of hurry their way through through innovation. And really, I think scarcity drives real innovation to a great degree. And so, my hope is that we will continue to see truly sort of, groundbreaking businesses, tools, products, services. So we've seen, what am I seeing too much of? There's a lot of lookalike things out there. There's a lot of,
social commerce.
Yeah, and I've got no appetite for when people walk through the door and they say...
the next Groupon or the next Facebook.
Yeah, or we're the mint for corporations, right? Not that anybody said that to me, but, it's basically taking analog like, this was big over here, and if you just take it over here, it will be big. So that, to me, we got no appetite for that. It's one of the reasons why we ask people for beta products. We don't want a business plan, and we don't want sort of, charts, of things moving up and to the right. What we want actual real products, which we can touch and use. Because at the end of the day, I'm a product person, and I want to use things, and I want to try products. And, we are very, Andy and I and Josh and the team at Betaworks, we try things, and at the end of the day, it's, do we love this thing or not? Do we want to make this part of our lives and part of our workflow? And that's, that's really where the rubber meets the road for us.
What aren't you seeing, though? I guess you don't know until you see it.
Yeah, I think that we're starting to see more and more monetization tools and services. Monetization sounds like it's really, in my opinion.
You get a frog in your throat when you talk about money.
So, let me start again. So, in my opinion, monetization is not something that you should retrofit onto these new businesses, right? If you believe this is a new medium, then you need new monetization tools, right? You need new ways to make money. The reason why Google and AdSense was such an interesting tool was that it wasn't just advertising. It was more like an exchange, more like a marketplace for advertising around search. And it completely moved with the grain of the experience of search. And so I believe firmly that the really successful businesses here won't be the ones who graft monetization models, ad banners or, from other businesses or from other mediums onto this. They'll be the ones who really develop the indigenous monetization model, which moves with the grain of the user experience that we're seeing. So, more of that.
What about curation? What about the front end from the consumer's point of view? Because there's a lot of raw data in real-time media, but it's still very confusing, particularly for mainstream media users.
Yeah. So, so I think that there's a lot of curation tools that we're starting to see up here. We've built some of those, and we've seen others build them. I think that there is actually a lot of curation that's going on under the hood, because every time that you sort of tweet something out, you've in essence taken from the morass of information that you're seeing in your sort of brain and the stream of information moving through your information gathering system, and you synthesize it down and say, okay, I'm going to send out one tweet right now because I think this is important. So there is actually a lot of human curation that is going on. I think that the tools to be able to filter that and manage are still pretty rudimentary. So TweetDeck has, built a bunch of them. There's a lot of filtering tools on top of TweetDeck. Last week actually it was earlier this week, I had lunch with a gentleman who's the leading tipster for TechMeme, a guy called Atul, who's a very nice fellow, lives in California, and his part-time job is he sends tippins into TechMeme. And I spent about an hour just asking him about his workflow and how he actually finds things.
He's a curator.
He's a curator. He's totally a curator. He refers to himself as a tipster, but he's a curator. And the tools that he uses are fairly simple. He uses RSS and Google, the Google Reader RSS tool, and he uses Twitter. He uses TweetDeck to interface with Twitter. He uses a lot of filters, a lot of search, and he's probably got a lot of shortcuts that he's figured out around that. But that's I think, and then he's both a curator, and then people will curate what he's doing, and it sort of moves through the stream, right? So I think it's happening. There's certainly more to be done in that area.